So last month I shared with you examples of how to adapt the Will-o'-the-Wisp and Dragon Days into your own work. This month we are tackling two holiday-specific entities that will put a chill down your spine and hopefully set even Ebenezer Scrooge on the straight and narrow. This month we are tackling Krampus and the Yule Cat. Now I'll be honest, both of these entities do take on more of a horror element. I'm very much aware of this, and I also am aware that it's not October, but they are also intrinsically linked with Yule and Christmas traditions. So let's start with Evil Santa, shall we?
Whoa! Hold on, Garrett.
What is it, other Garrett?
Santa is already evil. I mean, his name is already an anagram for Satan.
Sorry about that, folks. Other Garrett is getting bored since we haven't done a fan theory video for a Feast of Fandoms in a while. Anyway, Krampus's origins stem from Eastern and Central Alpine folklore tradition. It is a horned anthropomorphic creature who looks like the monstrous flip side to the St. Nicholas coin. He accompanies St. Nick on visits to children on December 5th, which is referred to as Krampusnacht or Krampus Night. Meanwhile, on December 6th, that's usually celebrated as the Feast of St. Nicholas, hence the date differing from Christmas Eve and Day, which is December 24th and 25th, respectively. So while St. Nicholas gives gifts to children, Krampus gets to deal with the kids who find themselves on Santa's naughty list. He often wears a hooded robe and in some depictions has the physical appearance that leans more towards the devilish, with cloven hooves on his feet and the curling goatish horns on his head, and he's covered in matted hair. Basically, he's a satyr that spent way too much time around Heisenberg and is horribly addicted to meth.
I am the one who knocks.
Not on Krampusnacht, dude. Am I right? I mean, yeah.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Anyway, like Jacob Marley from A Christmas Carol, Krampus carries heavy chains symbolizing the binding of the devil in Christian circles. And he either wields birch branches or a whip for lashing the belligerent gits who weren't behaving themselves between last year and this year. Ultimately, instead of giving gifts to the good boys and girls of the world, he carries a sack and fills it with the aforementioned gits, whom he captures to take to hell. Basically, it takes the story of Santa and adds a really dark twist. Instead of getting a lump of coal in your stocking, you're basically dragged into eternal torment. Great job, guys!
So be good, for goodness sake. Whoa, somebody's coming.
We have to get out of here.
Now let's turn our attentions to the giant murder floof stalking the late-night winter streets.
No, hey, no nom-noms on me. No nom-noms on D. No, love. No, No nom-noms. No, ow! Ow. No claws. Ah. No nom-noms. Ow, stop it.
The Yule Cat, or Jólaköttur in Icelandic, is a huge, vicious cat that looms around Christmas Eve, and it hunts and eats people who do not receive any brand new clothing before Christmas Eve. While Krampus didn't appear in the historical record until the 17th century, the Yule Cat is even newer, with the first mention in around 1865. But like Krampus, the legend was used as a warning. Krampus was used as a deterrent against childhood misbehavior, while the Yule Cat warned wool farmers to get on it and make sure that they weren't slacking when it came to getting the wool sheared and sent off to the looms to be spun into brand new clothes. The notion of a cat lurking in the dark and going after those who didn't receive new clothes is indicative of how dangerous it could be if you're stuck out in the cold wearing something threadbare and non-protective. While I have never incorporated either of these entities into my own writing, I did have a set of feline creatures featured in my second book, The Destiny of Dragons, in which my main character, Gavin, faces off against a pair of invegats, which are fire elementals that take on a lion-esque form. with manes of wreathing flames and fire around their heads, their bodies, and their tails. I also included a felinoid description to one of the 7 demons in my 4th book, Hadron Corvus of Farfell, where in that story, the demon of wrath sheds its human guise and looks like an anthropomorphic cat who generates a fiery touch with his anger when his powers are at full strength. So the question then becomes, what can you do to incorporate these characters into your own writing? First off, don't necessarily incorporate them as monsters. For Krampus, focus on his duality as a necessary force for balance. Purging fires are terrible, but they clear out all the dead brush in a forest. They provide nutrients to the soil and scarify pine cones into opening up and releasing their seeds. For the Yule Cat, give it a more defined role, playing into the themes of your story. For example, consumerism versus social inequality, or the value of preparedness. Tip number 2, give these entities agency. Regardless of the time period of the setting, both Krampus and the Yule Cat should operate with a particular agenda of their own making. Is Krampus really gunning for little Timmy? And if so, why? How does Timmy keep squeaking by getting onto the nice list? And is it all in a technicality? How do the ideas of grace and mercy play into the story at that point? For the Yule Cat, if he's in a modern setting, how can he tell if the clothes are new when so many modern clothes deliberately make their products look pre-worn and vintage? Would my brother have been picked off by the Yule Cat because his $300 pair of Lucky Brand jeans had holes deliberately torn out of the legs? Finally, tip 3, give them nuance. Maybe Krampus isn't a punishment figure. Maybe he's trying to prevent the children from suffering a worse fate. Personally, I often conflate Dickens' Ghost of Christmas Future with Krampus, especially after seeing the movie Scrooged, starring Bill Murray. What if Scrooge, or another adult for that matter, was a kid who had been good enough to escape Krampus as a child, but became worse as an adult and needs to be warned of what's to come if there isn't a change of heart? For the Yule Cat, maybe it leaves a cryptic warning instead of killing and devouring someone. Maybe it's a guardian for some kind of sacred place, like when I used the Envegats in the Destiny of Dragons to be these fiery guardians at the temple housing the Elder Dragon of Fire.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Now, if you're writing anything that could incorporate these folkloric entities, if you follow these tips, I think you'll do well. You'll be well on your way to making a tale of wintry wonder before the year is out. Now, if there's something that you've got a question about, or if you have a suggestion of what to cover in another video, by all means, you can leave that in the comment section, and I would be happy to respond.